and this session is mainly focusing on introductions to the Node.js. So my concept is to this video mainly focusing for the learner. The learner should have the basic skill before coming to the Node.js. It is about HTML, very basic thing, and it is about CSS for the presentation, and a little bit fundamental about the JavaScript is the prerequisite thing that the learner should know before coming to the Node.js. And this is my first video with an introduction section of Node.js, which consists of introductions to Node.js and how far it is different from the server-side scripting with Node.js, and what are all the Node.js benefit, and what is the concept, and how it's going to work. And we are going to see about the future and what are all the popular apps which has been used in the Node.js, because nowadays Node.js is very popular in live streaming videos. And at last, we are going to see the steps about installation of Node.js, and with a simple application with the 4 examples of program I'm going to discuss in this video session. Let me move on to the first session. It is about introduction to Node.js. So why I have to come for Node.js, even though there's a lot of languages, is very familiar. The first important thing is when I come for server-side scripting, the path which has been retrieving a data in a single path, even though it is a distributed system, the systems become very slower. For example, a single movie I have uploaded in a single server where 60 students are watching the same movie with the same IP address, then automatically the fetching will be very slow with appropriate port number. So in order to make our live streaming video very fastly, we can use the concept of Node.js. This is the main ultimate concept of Node.js. Whereas first important thing is Node.js is open source, where every person can download. It is a freeware, and it is mainly supports a cross-platform runtime environment, where of course I can do it this Node.js in my Windows application, Windows OS, or also Linux or any operating system. And mainly it is supported with a Google or V8 JavaScript engine. And the basic thing that, as I said, that the prerequisite, the executing of JavaScript is needed for a particular person. And of course, Node.js is not a framework. Don't think it is a framework. It is just, it is also not a programming languages also. So it is not a framework, it is not a programming languages, but it is a concept where we can use, it is mainly focusing on server-side scripting. So what do you mean by server-side scripting? We must understand that verification and validation done on the server side. So I'm going to verify the data or validate the data on the server side, then it is called as a server-side scripting. Of course, this Node.js is mainly consist of 3 important topics. One, it is of event-driven. All the Netflix where we are watching a movie, simultaneously a single movie can be watched by any person with the same server, which is called as an event-driven. And non-blocking, there is no need of blocking. Even I can drag a movie with an input and output devices, even with the speakers or web cameras can be utilized with this called as a non-blocking and asynchronous concept. And as usual, as I said first itself, it is a cross-platform of runtime environment. So this is about the introduction of Node.js, and very important, it is highly scalable server-side application. What do you mean by highly scalable server-side application? In my server, I can go with millions of people can watch a single movie with a different port number in a single file. Even my laptop can be act as a server-side scripting, and it will be very fast. Even in my laptop, I can connect it with a different port number to fetch the same file from different side. It's just like a canteen with the different doors. If a canteen has a single door, all the data has to go with a single door and they have to come out. So it maybe leads to traffic when the heavy rush time. So if I give 4 or 5 doors in a canteen, so that the students can enter in one side and they can retrieve in different side with the same canteen they can access. And this is called as a highly server-side applications. And of course, it's very important to build an backend services, just like an API or web app or mobile API. The main ultimate concept is used for the Node.js is equal to the very important concept. Node.js is equal to runtime environment. Suppose a canteen has a single door at 10:20 to 10:30 is a break time. Then all the data has to go with a single door and they have to fetch the data, which is very difficult for us to access the data. So that we are using a one concept name, it is called as a runtime environment, and I'm going to use a inbuilt JavaScript library. So this is a short term of Node.js. Then I come here. What is the difference between server-side scripting and Node.js? So you have to understand what is server-side scripting and what is it. Of course, Node.js is also server-side scripting. In my point, I'm saying that server-side scripting like PHP or ASP or JSP, whereas PHP is of Apache, whereas ASP it is of Microsoft, whereas JSP it is of Sun Micros. All the server-side scripting languages are there. Of course, how it is competitive with Node.js. That's the one thing we have to understand. Suppose my IP address is 45, last number is 45, and I store the system files, I'm storing the files in 45. If I use PHP or ASP, send the task to the computer file system. So it is going to send the task, or it is going to open or read the file, or it is going to return the file, or ready to handle the next request. These are all the things has been used in a normal server-side scripting languages. Then how far it is different from Node.js? So even though I had used a 45, my IP address ends with 45, and I had a I can have n number of port number. For example, 3000, 3002, or 4000 or 4002 with a different port number, so that it is very fast access in which environment it is called as Node.js. So that's what we are saying, that you can see that a multiple request. Suppose a single classroom has only one door, so that 60 students are coming through the door and they are accessing the data and they are going back. A single classroom with a single door. Suppose a single classroom with multiple door. These are the difference between single classes with single door and single classes with multiple door between the server-side scripting and Node.js. Of course, a lot of languages like ASP or JSP or PHP. If we come here, I can write here it is about ASP or JSP or PHP. These are all a normal server-side scripting. Of course, Node.js is also a server-side scripting. Compared to Node.js, I can use the one technical term which is called as a multiple request. So I can pass a multiple request, which is very fast access in the streaming. So what are all the benefits? As I said that it is a server-side scripting, and very important, I'm coming here with multiple requests and multiple response. For example, in a college, if you consider that a canteen with a single door, it's very difficult to access. So that is what we are coming here. And the next thing, it is about robustness. So when I come for robustness, I'm going with the two concepts. One, it is called as a memory allocation. So I'm going with a memory allocation and also an exception handling. So how to handle the exceptions when there is an error or when there is bugs or there, how we are going to handle this is coming under the robustness. And at last, very important thing, even my laptop can be activated as a node server. In one folder, I can create my entire application file, and I can pass with a different multiple ports. So these are the two things. Even my client machine can be act as a server. Of course, this can be done in PHP or ASP or JSP, of course. I'm not saying that the ASP and PHP or JSP or worse. Each language has their own individualities. Among that, the Node.js is mainly focusing on one concept. It is called as a multiple port. So this is the Node.js benefit. And when I come for concept, you can see I can run the program in the console application. So from the server side, I can able to view everything, and a very good debugger. Error handling. These are the some of the concepts which is coming here. One, it's of domain name. So I can give a domain name or callback or buffering. Buffering is very fast. That's what most of the live stream videos are coming here with the modules and domain state and cluster. I can also make a group, and I can create a group of files, and I can able to upload or view or download. Anything can be done at last with the concept of networking. So these are all the concept of Node.js. So the learner should understand before, while writing a simple program, they should understand the basic concept, why Node.js are familiar. Now, how this Node.js is going to work here? Let me consider here. How there is the first one, accept the request from the client and send the response. Of course, every server-side scripting is mainly focusing on accepting the request from the client and send the response. There is no difference between ASP or JSP or PHP or Node.js. But here, the very important thing, handles them with a single thread. So what is meant by a thread? A program in execution is called as a thread, where each request are considered as a single thread, which is a fast access. For example, if you are conducting a symposium or conference, the volunteers are coming here from other colleges. So we want to access their resources. I'm going to appoint one student per college to access each college students. So that what happens, a single thread can access the entire college students. They can able to process it very fastly. What happens if I not allocated? This is what the very important thing. So it is handles with a single thread. And next one, it is operate with the Node.js with the concept, the very important concept name, it is also called as a thread. So you can see here, what is a thread? A sequence of instruction that servers needs to perform. So whenever I'm sending a request, I'm going to send an ID. With that ID, a single thread is going to process the server, and once again, it is going to be run here. Of course, sir, can the two process or three process can access the server at a time? Yes, of course, it is possible. If I have a door, at a time, three students are coming and performing in the classroom, and once again, they're going back at a time. A single time, three or four students can enter the gate. This is called a parallel, where three or four students can simultaneously enter the gate, not one by one, at simultaneously, and each students are considered as a thread. This is a small example to understand the concept of thread and the server. Next one, we are coming here with the event of looping of single threaded application. So these are all the things you have to understand. And next thing, we are coming here, one very important thing, it is called as concurrent request, simultaneous request. A single movie I'm having in my server so that all the 60 students are watching the same movie at the time. What about the speed of the video? Whether it is going to be synchronized or whether it is going to be blocked or it is be very slow. If I put the same video in my ASP or PHP or JSP server, of course the video will be there, but I have to write some synchronization algorithm in order to make my videos very fastly. But very luckily, we got a Node.js so that without a thread blocking, each request will consider as a single thread and it is going to process. And this concept, it is what Node.js work. That's what nowadays the Node.js is very familiar. So I request the learner, if you are very much interested to go with learner, try to do some applications in the Node.js. Now, what are the futures of Node.js? So it is scalability. Of course, I said that million of people can be view a single movie at a time. Next one, real-time web app. Simultaneously, I can go with viewing or downloading the movies. Fast shoot, easy to learn and code. Of course, it is very easy for the programmer if they have a fundamental understanding of HTML, JS, CSS, and JavaScript. And of course, a very important thing, it is about catching memory. Whatever I'm doing the transactions in my server, everything will be stored in a cache so that it is easy to access me after the processing of a movie like that. And very important, data streaming. And I can say data streaming, which is coming under, I can say it is also a live streaming. Nowadays, most of the live streaming app is very familiar because of only one concept. It is called as a Node.js. At last hosting, even I can host any movies or songs on my own in my laptop, and I can with a Node.js, it is very easy to access very fastly. And at last, which we are coming here, it is called as a corporate support. So these are the some of the features. I'm not saying these are the entire features. These are the some of the features of Node.js. Now we come here. Why it is popular? Node.js is why very popular. Now simultaneously I can go here. What are all the applications are very popular? You can see that I have given some of the sample examples. One, it is very familiar. It is of Firefox with the Node.js so that a single web page can be viewed with a million of people without any delay of live streaming. And next thing, of course, you are all very familiar with Netflix, all the movies, how many movies are there in the Netflix. Each movies can be how many persons are viewed, and not only viewed, we can go with the rating and analytics, and everything is possible with the Netflix. And next one is of Uber. Of course, in India, Uber is not as much as familiar to Ola. But whereas when you go for abroad, Uber is very familiar, which is a real-time data application where a million of people using this app at a time. This is very important. Million of people using at the time. So this is about Uber. And next one is of PayPal, which is mainly focusing on web application as well as the mobile applications with million of customers like that. And if you come for that, sir, I want to learn Node.js. So what is the basic concept? What are the basic tools I can use here or how to design an application? First thing, it is a single page web application. What do you mean by single page web application? Within a single web page application, I can able to make an entire project here. And next one, as usual, we are very familiar with real-time applications. This is what a real-time file applications, whereas streaming, this is coming under streaming applications. And Firefox, you can say that a collaborations tool, and IoT with various devices, we can able to use it here. So these are all the popular of Node.js. And this is the basic structure. Of course, we come to the programming part. We no need to worry about the code, and we cannot able to start from the variables to the database connection. We have to understand how to write the program, not need to know why we have to write it. Don't ask the question, right? Why we can write. We have to ask the question is how we are going to write the program. So when I come for it, this is a variable, which is we can use any variable name, and this is a packages. The package name, it is called as a required, which is a built-in packages of Node.js. And what protocol I'm going to write it, it is called as a hypertext transfer protocol. And here, with the help of my HTTP, I'm going to create a one server. This is what I'm going to create a server. In my laptop, I'm going to create a one server, and there is no function name. That's what I written here, function. And I'm going to pass a two parameter. One it is of request, another one it is of response. So request means from the client, the data will be request to the server. What is meant by response? From the server to the client. So I'm going to use one keyword. It is called as a response. That is from the server. It is going to display on the client. So I'm going to use a one method. It is called as write head, and 200 is a port. And what is the content type? My content type, it is of just a HTML or text. And I'm saying that response.end, what is the word? What is the word? First word we are going to display, it is called as a hello world. So this is a simple program to display the hello world. And this is a server where I'm using a one method called listen, which is going to listen with a port number. It is of 880. That's what I told that. If I'm using a single door, I'm going to put 880. Suppose I want to go with multiple port, I can write listen 3000, listen 2000, listen 2010. Like that I can put, so that, for example, Osur people have to go with 8080. Whereas Tirchi people has to go with port number 8090. Whereas Madurai people, they can go with opening with a port number 3000. So with a multiple door, as I said, a canteen with a multiple door. So a single program with a multiple port, I can able to access to display the hello world, so that it will never be slow and the data will be very fast in accessing. So this is the basic steps to understand the programming concept. And here we are going for how to install. As we said first, the Node.js is open source. Just we can go through Google or any search engine website to download the Node.js. And this is the steps. Just put nodejs.org. Go to the window installer. Since if you're using an operating system as window installer, you can go with Windows, or if you're using an Apple, you can go with an Apple. And please, the learner, please check whether what type of bit is your operating system support. Suppose if your operating system is supports with 32, go with 32-bit. Suppose if your operating system supports 64, go with 64. So please be aware of it. The bit of operating system is compulsory needed. Just you go here, selected, download. And once you can see that these are the steps will be there, go with next, and you complete the Node.js, so that what happened, a Node.js service has been installed in your client machine. Once you install in your white client machine, please open your command prompt. Just in a search, you give Windows R or Windows CMD like that. And if you open the command prompt, type to check whether the Node.js has been installed properly or not. Type node-v, so that you can see that what version you had installed. See, learner should be very careful whenever you are learning the version. So what installed version it is, mine it is of 18.2. So you should be very clear with the version. And this is here, I'm going to discuss about 4 programs, very fundamental concept of Node.js. So that the first program, we are going to display a hello world in both the type of application. One it is of console application, another one it is of web application. Just a simple program. It is not a project. It is just a simple program. So here I'm using a one variable which is called as a constant. And by default, I'm having a host name with a local port number. It is of normal port number. And you can see here I'm using the port number which is of 3000. So these are all the basic variables I have declared here. And now I'm going to create a server, and there is no function name. And I'm going to pass a 2 parameter. One it is of request and another one is of response. And the status code is of 200. So I'm going to set a header. The header must be of which format it is of text/plain. Of course, initially you find it a little bit difficult, but once you get practice, you may easy to understand the concept. And next I'm going to display, it is called as a hello world. Okay. This is a program where I'm going to create a server. I can create my own server in my laptop in a single folder, which act as a Node.js, and it is come for live streaming. Now you can see that what is the keyword I've used here, it is of server. So server.listen. What is the port number? So you can see that port number is of 3000. What is the host name? You can see that host name, it is of 127.0.0.1. And here I'm writing that console.log of running a server with host name and port number. So what is my host name? You can see that host name, it is of 127.0.0.1, and port number, it is of 3000, so that the output will be displayed. two outputs will be displayed. One output will be displayed in the web browser. So if you open it in the web browser, it will be displayed here. And this will be displayed in the console server. So so there are two types. That's what I said, that the first one, it is of console, and the second one, it is of web. So this is what about the first program. And you can see that if you run the program, what I have to write the program, how to run the program, just to take any file name .js. So you have to save the file name in the notepad with any file name .js. So how to run the program? Node file name.js. So I have kept my file name, it is of s1.js. So that how to run the program? Node s1.js. And you can see that the server is running. I go back to the screen. You can see that server is running at HTTP off. So this is which output I have given here. It is coming under the console application. So we can go and see that server is running at 127.0.0.1. So this is console application. Of course, there is another one application is also web application. If the same port I had open in my web, you can see that hello world. So this is my output to display. You can go back to the program and you can see here what I given the word, which is of hello world. So every programmer should understand any technology or any languages are coming here. You must first ready to display hello world. This is the fundamental concept of learning the languages. So this is my first program. Now I'll go with my second program with a little difference. What is the difference is, what is the server time? So what I'm going to use it here, I'm going to use a one thing. It is the only one very important thing. It is about time. So what is DT? You can see DT is I'm going to put it in a one folder in my server. I'm going to create a one folder. My folder name, it is of my module. In that, I'm going to find out my server date and time. Of course, my server may be wherever. Not only I'm in Warsaw, suppose I'm going to abroad also, what is my server time? That is what we are going to display. And next thing we are going to display, it is about hello world. And as usual, I said in the previous program to display the string in the console application. So you can see this is what. Now this is my second program. So I saved at s2.js. So this is the running screen. And when I run the program, you can see here, what is my current server date and time. Of course, since we are in India, we can see that which time I have run this program and what is the date and what is the time I have run this program. You can see this is today's date where I have run the program with a particular time to display the hello world. So this is the second program. And now I move on to the third program. You can see here how to display any text. It can be any text, not only hello world or whatever the text I want to display with a server. So this is the same where nothing is different. Just I'm writing first MCA. So you can check it once again, console applications, and once again I come here. So these are the three fundamental, very basic concept about Node.js. And now I go on to the fourth one. What is the difference between fourth one? Now I'm designing one web page. It may be of any file name.html. For example, I'm using a one file name.html. I want to display my HTML with Node.js so that it can be, anyone can be downloaded. So now what happened? I'm going to come with a one thing, FS, it is called as file system. See, whenever we are learning the languages, you should be very clear. What is the concept? How we have to implement? We no need to ask the question, why we have to implement this. If you ask why, then there will be it is not a research, it is an application. So we should concentrate how to write it, that's all. So here I'm coming here, FS is an object, requires of file system with host number and port number. As usual, I'm creating the server and I'm going to invoke one file, which is called as a read file. It is of demo file.html. And I'm going to display the content and I'm going to write the data and also first MCA in my web pages. So you should understand that, sir, I want to create one web page and that web page should be implemented in my Node.js so that everyone can, suppose 7,000 students are in our college can view it also. 7,000 students can view the same page without any delay. They can able to view the file. That is what the concept of Node.js. And you can see the output. So this is about my fourth file. So we have written the fourth file and I'm going to implement. You can see the entire HTML file will be displayed here. And the next output is, go back to the code. You can see the code. So I have written here results of first MCA. So the last line will be, we can see that it will be displayed first MCA. So these are the four programs. Should understand the basic, how to type the program, how to run the program, how to execute the program in your laptop and or a system, and it is considered as a server. So the programming which we have written Node.js is of server-side scripting. Okay, learned here how to install Node.js, how to write a simple program using Node.js, and how to invoke any file HTML in the Node.js. So at the end of the first session, these are the things we have been discussed. Anyway, in the next session, we go with further topic. Thank you.